Okay, so over the course of making the videos for this channel, I've probably made hundreds of presets. I know I've got at least 180 or something shared on the Cortex Cloud. I've also made over 100 captures. As you can imagine, I don't go back and use all of those presets and all of those captures all the time. I tend to gravitate towards, a handful of them. And there's one that I tend to go back to regularly often, and it kind of surprises me because it's based on some captures that are a little off the wall in that they are captures of tone models from my Tonex that are captures of an amp. So it's kind of secondhand, kind of digital copies of the amps, but they work and they sound good. And I find myself going back to this preset pretty often. So I figured I'd reshare it because this was kind of buried in some of my videos about the Tonex. I'm not sure that most people knew that I had created these. And since I use it so often, I figured I'd kind of highlight it here today. And so let's go ahead and look at the Cortex control. As you can see here, there's only two captures here, and they are of a tone model of a Bad Cat amp. I believe Tim Pierce made these tone models. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that's the case. And these were tone models that I liked on my Tone X1. And just to kind of try it out, really, I was like, well, let's try capturing this with the Quad Cortex and see how that works. And it worked out pretty well. And like I said, I just find myself coming back to this preset pretty often. So let's go ahead and just hear the captures by themselves, and then we'll go into some of the scenes. So there's two captures here. One of them is a clean, and one of them is a crunch. So pretty straightforward. You can see here I'm scooping the EQ just a little bit, but let's go ahead and just set it back to normal here. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn off the chorus here, and let's just turn off the delay. We'll leave the reverb on so we can have some ambience, but here's what that clean tone sounds on its own. So it's a nice bright clean tone. I found that it works well both on kind of a single coil neck pickup. It also works pretty well on a humbucker. Even on the bridge pickup, it sounds pretty good. And so it's just a good basic clean that you can build a lot of stuff around. And the other one is just a crunch. And I'm actually pulling the gain back a little bit, but let's go ahead and again, we'll just even everything out here and hear what it sounds like. So just a nice kind of thick, crunchy tone. So it's got some clarity to it, but it's not harsh. I do have a little bit of EQ on both of these in that I'm running a low-high cut, just basic, cut out the 80, cut out 7K. For some of the higher gain stuff, I'm dropping it to 6K, but that's just keeping it to general kind of 4x12 EQ setting. So if we go back, I'm just going to reset this preset a little bit, and we'll hear what the scenes sound like. And so one thing you notice, these are captures that include the cab sim as part of the capture as well. So, it's not taking up a lot of CPU to run these. And if I just go back to the basic clean tone, again, this is with a chorus and delay on it. Just a nice kind of clean tone there. We can compress it a little bit. does pretty well with that. It does nice with a Nobel OD1. Again, this is just the model of the overdrive. I got a little bit of flange added to that. So, you know, that clean tone, you can do a lot of things with it. And then you've got the crunch and just kind of different levels of gain. So with these drive tones, another thing I like to do is I have the fumble preamp pedal. And what I'll do is I'm pushing the output all the way and then attenuating the input just a little bit. So a little bit of bass cut on it. If you didn't see the video I did on the fumble, I'll link to that here. But this just adds a big boost into it. And I find this capture takes it pretty well. So I like how that capture is taking the different levels coming out of that preamp. You know, without the preamp on, it's pretty quiet when you turn the guitar down. But it really takes that level from the preamp pretty well. So liking that from this capture, I must admit, I usually don't see that very well from the V1 captures. I find the V2 captures are usually much better at kind of dealing with that change in guitar volume and kind of not dropping the overall volume too much. But combined with that pedal, it works pretty well. And I just got a couple lead tones. One is using the Nobel ODR. And then another one's using the Archer icon. So, you know, this preset's been out on my Cortex Cloud account for quite a while, but it's one that's I keep finding myself coming back to, and it's a little unusual. It's not one that kind of got a lot of views on it. And so I figured I wanted to kind of bring it to the surface, so to speak, just so folks know it's there. And I really recommend kind of checking it out. You know, it's ironic that these captures that are captures of a tone model running on a Tone X1, which is itself kind of captures of the amp, you know, you wouldn't think that kind of double digitalization, so to speak, of the amp tones would work out, but it kind of did. And like I said, I find myself coming back to this quite a bit. I think it does well with kind of Strat style single coils. It does well even with humbucker pickups. You know, I've used this with more of kind of a Les Paul kind of tone. So if you're looking for something pretty versatile, I would encourage you to check these out.